this little guy. And when her and I got married, we agreed to have one kid. And then, so we were going back and forth on whether or not we want to have another kid.
No, we were not going back and forth. I sold everything. I got rid of it all.
That's her side of the story. I went to the doctor a couple of times to get that problem taken care of, and she would break down, and so we went to revisit the whole situation. So anyway, long story short, I'm talking to Nana one day and told her what was going on. Just had a conversation. She's like, "Have you seen our house?" She's like, "The more the merrier. You need to have some more babies." So I introduced you to Avery. And yeah, I have no regrets. Not today.
Maybe on the way home.
But and I remember that conversation with her vividly.
He did not have that conversation with me though, and I did sell everything.
Yeah.
And we did walk around for about 2 weeks barely talking after I found him. Because I was 30, I was going to be having another kid at 38 years old. So I was like, I'm going to do what again?
Well, I mean, to be fair, she did have like 6 kids, and we had to literally, for the programs, count up her greats and great-greats because couldn't even fit names. No names, just counting. So you took advice from somebody who had like an army.
Had to grow the family by one more.
And he has something.
Well, I'll tell a son-in-law story. Yeah, I don't think I've ever told this story. So on our first date, Kathy and I, she took me to her house, and Paul and Dorothy were there, and Larry Lewis and Pat were there, and she introduced me to them. And if you know me, I'm very much an introvert, very uncomfortable around people. So that was tough. And Kathy and I dated, Kathy will say, what, 10 years? We didn't date 10 years. But we probably dated for 2 or 3 years. So I never really, Dorothy was never really, she was always very kind to me and very nice, but I was never sure where I stood because she could be kind of stern looking, you know. So I was never really sure. And I think it's because she was waiting on me to ask her daughter to marry her, and it took a while for me to do that. But I was never really sure where I stood. So finally, I got up enough nerve to ask Kathy to marry me, and fortunately, I don't think she ever said yes, she just took the ring. But that's true. But yeah, because she would always wave that left finger. So I had to put that to rest. But I digress. The point of the story is that when Kathy and I got married, we left from the house that night. And again, still never knowing where I stood with Dorothy necessarily. And when we walked out to get in the car and leave, she said, she walked out and opened the door, and she said to Kathy and I, she said, "Y'all be safe, good night." And she told me, she said, "I love you, son." And I was in.